listening to Bizz 99.9 FM Substitute Radio. It's the top of the hour, so it's time for the Bizz News Summary Update Recap Show. I'm Geoffrey Concentrated. Here's what's been making headlines this hour. Channel 8 producers and directors have been working in good faith with police and medical professionals today in order to calm down the emotional and legal emergency currently embroiling the network. This follows last night's episode of the Super Fun Spectacular Show with Jody, where a contestant nearly drowned during one of the trial rounds. Matthew Christoph, who was in second place at the time, was placed into the Head Above Water Challenge, where participants are placed into a neck-high pool of water and must dodge waves and projectiles in order to keep themselves from being submerged. Unfortunately, Mr. Christoph was immediately hit by one of the robot seagulls and slipped over, plunging into the water and unable to drag himself up. Once it became clear that something was wrong, the game was called off, Mr. Christoph was retrieved from the water and revived by studio paramedics. The Channel 8 headquarters, Renegade Raccoon Studios, has been locked down today with no interviews or comments permitted, with an official press conference scheduled for later tonight. Child welfare groups are issuing a general warning to all parents, teachers, and other caregivers about the potential risks of young children choking on small objects, advising that all hazardous materials should always be kept out of their reach. As a general rule, small objects which are inedible, solid or hard should never be placed near or inside a child's mouth. Furthermore, under no circumstance should an adult supervisor try to physically force such an object into a child's mouth, and especially not as a form of punishment. Unfortunately, behaviour like this is quite common across much of the country, with adults seemingly not knowing the risks involved. Examples of this dangerous and potentially abusive behaviour include trying to make a child eat their own words, trying to make them swallow their pride, and trying to make them eat humble pie. It's hoped that a public awareness campaign might reduce the occurrence of these sorts of incidents. A local bakery has decided to take a novel approach to attracting new customers, by holding a community raffle with all the prizes being various baked goods. Noel Coddington, who owns and runs Living on the Breadline, the new bakery in the small coastal town of Winston, found that he was struggling to build up a sufficiently large and loyal customer base, and so was scarcely making repayments to his bank. That's when the idea struck him to create a community raffle, where he would give out some of his baked goods to the public as prizes. He invited other local businesses and community groups to contribute to the raffle's prize pool and the selling of tickets, including the primary school and high schools, and the police and fire departments. The draw is to happen on Friday next week. First prize will be a fresh loaf of bread made using Mr. Coddington's family secret recipe. A public swimming pool in the inner city suburb of New Pine has introduced a new controversial policy of age segregating the patrons, with the two petition groups having their own separately assigned pools. But this rule only applies to males, with all women and girls free to swim in whichever pool they wish. Upon going through the turnstiles, all male customers will be split between adult and children, with both having different changing rooms and stairwells, and with a large wired fence isolating the men's and boys' pools. Anyone caught swimming in the pool other than their age group assigned one will be expelled and banned from the pool for 2 weeks. The manager of Winterfair and Serpent Pools, Zara Sainsbury, said that this policy was primarily about testing the aptitudes of the patrons, so that they were properly grouped according to their swimming experience, skill, and proficiency. At this point in time, no swimming, children, or parental group has made an official public comment about this policy. A young woman has created a very innovative and unusual method for locating missing items around the house. in what could be the next big trend in domestic upkeep techniques. Megan Lang, a freelance engineer and part-time inventor, aged 34, was looking around her house for a very specific tool, but despite searching up and down, she couldn't find it. So, using her engineering skills and know-how, and access to heavy machinery, she came up with an unorthodox solution. She securely closed all the windows and doors to the whole house, and then cut a meter-squared opening on the roof. By calling one of her contacts, she got access to an industrial crane, which she used to lift the entire dwelling off its foundations and into the air. The crane then rotated the house 180 degrees so that it was upside down. All of Miss Lang's belongings fell out of the house through the hole in the roof and onto the front lawn, including her furniture, clothes, kitchen utensils, and all her engineering tools. By sorting through the gigantic pile of her stuff on the lawn, Miss Lang was able to locate that one specific tool she'd been looking for. Engineering experts are calling this a piece of incredible brilliance, ingeniousness, and novelty. And Miss Lang is expected to patent the technique and set up her own business. And that's what's been making news this hour. The next edition of the Bizz News Summary Update Recap Show will be at the top of the next hour. You're listening to Bizz 99.9 FM Substitute Radio. I'm Geoffrey Concentrated. We'll now return you to your normal programming.